Hi, I'm Michael Jordan with AB Friendly Company, and you're at the Underground Meadery. Today we're going to be doing a mixture, right? You've seen us do some pyments. We did a white pyment, we did a dark Concord pyment. Well, we're going to do a pyment stone fruit mix. So what we have here is Welch's, white grape, and red cherry that we'll be using. As you can see, I've got a little bit poured out of this one already to put in our coffee pot to warm it up. Remember, when you're done using your coffee pot, run water through it 2 times to clean it all out, or just do what we do. We usually just pour some of the juice inside the thing and put it on the burner. Warms it up just enough to dissolve the honey. Remember, we don't want anything to kill the enzymes in the honey, so that's why we're just using the nice little coffee pot method. Just warms up the water or whatever juice or liquid you're using enough to dissolve your honey. So let's go ahead and start off with the ingredients. I do have my ingredients card here. We've got 1 gallon of white red cherry grape juice from Welch's that we'll be using. So we're going into a pyment into the stone fruits. So we're doing a little bit of a mix. We've got 2.5 pounds of AB Friendly Company honey, clover honey. I've got my 1 gallon fermentation device. I've got my Red Star Premier Blanc yellow pack yeast. And I've got my traditional balloon airlock that everybody likes. Remember to have your hydrometer to take your potential gravity reading, your testing tube to try your hydrometer in, temperature gauge so we can see the temperature to drop the yeast, pair of scissors so you can open up your yeast pack, and your pen so you can write down your gravities, your date, and your temperatures. I think we have everything. Let's get started. And the best way to get started is to drink a mead. So this is Papa's Island Dream. This is my dad's mixture. It's basically a pina colada. It's very good. As you can see, it's a little cloudy because it's hard to really clear this up naturally without using infiltration devices. But it's Papa's Island Dream pina colada. Coconuts and pineapples, super great. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to add our AB friendly honey to our jug. All right. Take your lid off your jug. Remember, when you pour it, get a good pour and then bring it up. That way you don't get an air bubble. Remember, when the honey sits on the top, you'll get an air bubble and then you won't get any honey in your jug because it's trying to push out the air. The other thing is, if your honey doesn't run like this, remember to take a saucepan, boil some water. When the water's boiling, turn off the saucepan and then stick your jar of honey in it. Remove the lid off the jar of honey, of course. And it should go from crystallization to a nice runny honey just like you see here. Look at that, nice good pour for you. Now, remember just to turn and lift, and then you won't get honey spilling everywhere where you're going. Now remember, I added some this cherry white grape to the coffee pot set on the burner. It's warm enough to where we can just dump it in. This is 2 cups, so I'll just pour 1 cup into my jug here. Remember to squeeze the jug. Put your lid back on it. And that way when you shake it, it'll puff right back up because the hot liquid mixing with the sugar causes steam. Doesn't take very much when you have a good amount of liquid in there. As you can see, it takes all the honey out of the side of the jug. And we just pour the residual back in. Now I will go ahead and use the rest of the white cherry grape juice. And I'll put my lid back on. Now what we're doing is we're dissolving all the honey. That way we can get a good accurate reading on our hydrometer. No honey, all good. Now we'll just go ahead and start adding our juice. Here's a good time to put your funnel in if you don't have a good steady hand. will put my lid back on and I will give it a shake. That way we get everything kind of dissolved and mixed up really good. Look at that, huh? All right, we'll go ahead and finish off by adding the rest. All right. I'll let that sit here just a little bit. I'm going to pour some of this now in my hydrometer reading tube. Better give it a little shake here to make sure everything's mixed up. All right. Now remember, don't fill it all the way to the top. Fill it up about 3/4 full, so that way we have room to put our hydrometer in. Remember, our hydrometer is giving us our specific gravity. So we're going to start with a starting gravity reading. You stick it in, give it a spin. Now for every pound of honey you add to your liquid, you get about 5% alcohol. We've added 2.5. We should be sitting at about 12 to 13%. Now whatever residual sugars the grapes and the cherries do, we'll boost that. So let's see what we've got. All right, our starting gravity looks like at 1.120. 1.120, which is at about, I would say 16%. So we have a potential of getting at 16% alcohol. Let's go ahead and put our temperature gauge in and see if we can drop yeast. Now remember, yeast, I always like to drop yeast anywhere from 68 degrees to 78 degrees. That's the best variance for my yeast and my climate. We'll put that right in the jug. We're hoping that it's probably around about 72 to about 74 degrees. We'll be able to dump the yeast probably right in today. If it doesn't get to that temperature, let's say that you've added a little more warm liquid to get everything dissolved, just let it sit for 24 hours, let it acclimate to the room temperature. Hopefully your room's not below 65 degrees and it's not 80 degrees in there unless you're using a high performance yeast. Let's see what we've got. And we're at 75. So that's a good reading for that. We'll go ahead and drop our yeast in. Just go ahead and take your scissors, cut the side of the pack. This is called a dry drop yeast. What I could do is I could drop my yeast into this container and we could watch it film up in about 10 minutes and make a yeast cake, which is called a starter batch, but we're going to do a dry drop. I use a whole pack. Take out my hydrometer so we can wash it. And when we add this, this will help mix the yeast in. Now that we've had the foam drop a little bit, I will tap this off just a little bit. It will not offset my hydrometer because it isn't too much. We just did enough to bring it up to the neck. That's it. Super easy. That's why it's Papa's Island Dream. Super good pina colada. And now we've got a grape cherry pyment or melomel if you want to go with the mixed fruits. And that's easy. Right, I'm Michael Jordan with AB Friendly Company. You're down at the Underground Meadery. We've just made a cherry pyment with grapes and cherry. It's got a great looking color to it. We went from a dark grape to a white grape, now to a red. We're not using a red grape, but we're using cherries with the grape juice. So we're using a stone fruit with the grapes. So it'll be a cherry flavored pyment. We're going to hope this turns out really good. I'm Michael Jordan with AB Friendly Company. You're at the Underground Meadery. Share, like, get everybody to try a brand new beverage. We hope that you'll tune in more and catch us at the Underground Meadery.